Dear practitioner, dear TMC Dharma families, we come here to establish and develop our mindfulness. Vipassana insight meditation was first introduced by our Lord Buddha. It is the most crucial for us to be liberated from samsara, the wrongs of suffering. When mindfulness is firmly established through the practice of Satipatthana, it serves as a powerful tool for the investigation of mind-body processes, uncovering their conditioned nature as impermanent, unsatisfactory, and unmanageable. Insight knowledge into the conditioned nature of mind-body processes, when you sufficiently develop, it will affect your mind to be disenchanted, to let go, to turn away from all things conditioned. Finally, your mind will incline and plunge into the unconditioned element called nibbana. All unsatisfactoriness or suffering entailed by the conditioned world of samsara will be ended once nibbana you attained. Sato sambhajano vihareya. Practitioners should dwell mindfully and fully comprehending. This is the repeated instruction of our Lord Buddha. Inspire yourself by reflecting, I'm going to practice Vipassana meditation that can lead me to be free from all suffering. Take the postures that is most comfortable for you, preferably the cross-legged position. Keep your body straight. During sitting, looking is not necessary. Close your eyes. Just be relaxed. Breathe normally. Focus your mind on the abdomen. When you breathe in, the abdomen rises, and note the rising of the abdomen. Be mindful of the rising movement from the beginning to the end. Pay close attention so that you are fully aware of the movement. When you breathe out, the abdomen falls. Be mindful of the falling movement from the beginning to the end. Mentally note rising when the abdomen is rising and falling when it is falling. But if making mental notes interfere with your practice, you don't have to make them. Just be mindful of the rising and falling movement of the abdomen. If you feel either tension or pressure in the abdomen, you may concentrate on it. The emphasis is to be mindful of the movement rather than the abdomen's shape or form. Rising, falling, rising, falling. If your mind can remain on the rising and falling of the abdomen, it would be very good. But mind has a tendency to wander quite often. So when you are keeping it on the abdomen, be mindful when the mind wanders. Do not blame yourself. Do not feel guilty. Just be mindful of it's going out. Mentally note it as going out, or wandering, wandering, wandering. Wandering might disappear. When it disappears, go back to the movement of the abdomen. We call the movement of the abdomen the primary object or home objects because we always go back to them after paying attention to any other object that becomes prominent at the present moment. If you see something in your thoughts, be mindful of seeing. Make mental notes as seeing, seeing, until that object disappears. Then go back to your home object. If you hear something in your thoughts, be mindful of hearing. If you hear actual noise, keep your mind inside the ear. Be mindful of hearing. Make mental notes as hearing, 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 until the noise disappears. Then go back to the home object. If you remember something from the past, be mindful of remembering. If you think of the future, be mindful of thinking of the future. Or if you make plans for the future, be mindful of making plans. When we practice Vipassana meditation, try to be in the present moment. We have to try to live in the present moment, and we have to try to be mindful of the object that is prominent at the present moment. Noting the object of the present moment is the most important, so try not to miss being mindful of it. But if you miss it or forget to note it, and later remember that you miss it, be mindful of that missing or forgetting. Make metanoia as missing or forgetting before going back to the home object. If you speculate on something, be mindful of speculating. If you're analyzing, be mindful of analyzing. If you make judgment, be mindful of making judgment. When you practice Vipassana meditation, pay bare attention to the object as it is without adding anything of your own. It should be a simple awareness or mindfulness of the object, a simple but intense awareness. Whatever you do with mindfulness, and whatever mental state arises in your mind, be mindful of that mental state. If there are thoughts of attachment, craving or desire, be mindful of them. Do not feel guilty, but just be mindful of them or make metanoia of them as craving or desire. And when they disappear, go back to the home object. If you are upset or angry for any reason, be mindful of being upset or angry, or make metanoia as upset or angry. Or you can take the anger itself as the object of your attention. In that case, concentrate on the mental state that is anger, be mindful of it, or mentally note anger. When it disappears, return to the home object. And if you are discouraged because you cannot concentrate, make this discouragement the object of your attention. Be mindful of it or make metanoia as discouraged. And when it disappears, go back to the home object. Whatever you do, however the small activity may be, do it with mindfulness. For example, if you need to swallow saliva, first be mindful of the intention to swallow, or make mental notes, intention. And when you gather the saliva in your mouth, be mindful of gathering it. When you swallow it down, be mindful of swallowing, and then go back to the home object. If you want to make any movement, first be mindful of the intention to move, and then make the movement slowly, one at a time, and with mindfulness. If you have an itching sensation somewhere in the body, concentrate on the place of the itching and be mindful of it, or make the mental notes itching until it disappears. And when it disappears, go back to the home object. If itchiness does not disappear but becomes more intense, be patient with it and make mental notes of it as long as you can. But if you think you cannot bear it any longer and have to scratch, first be mindful of the intention to scratch. Then move your hands slowly and with mindfulness to the area of itching, making mental notes at stretching. When your finger touches a place, be mindful of touching. When you scratch, be mindful of scratching. And when you move your hand back to its original place, be mindful of moving. When the hand touches the other hand, your lap or your knee, be mindful of touching and then go back to the home object. If you have pain in the body, treat it in the same way. Concentrate on the pain and be mindful of it, or make mental notes as pain. When it goes away, go back to the home object. If pain does not go away but becomes more intense, be patient with it. Try to be with it and make mental notes of it as long as you can. But if you think you cannot take it any longer, you may make changes in postures. Before making changes, be mindful of the intention to change, or make mental notes as intention. Then make the changes slowly and with mindfulness, one at a time. For example, if you want to stretch out your hand, first be mindful of the intention to stretch. Then stretch the hand slowly with mindfulness, or make mental notes as stretching. After you have made the changes, go back to the home object. There may be stiffness, numbness, heat or cold in the body. When you have any one of these sensations, treat it the same way. Concentrate on it and be mindful of it or make mental notes of it. It is important not to identify these sensations with yourself. Regard them as sensations apart from you. So you are like a spectator watching something happening at a distance. You know what is happening, but you are not involved in it. If you have pleasant sensation, be mindful of them also. What about the sensation, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant? If it becomes prominent, you have to be mindful of it. In brief, be mindful of the object you have chosen as the home object of meditation, the rising and falling of the abdomen. Try to be with it as long as you can, but also pay attention to your thoughts, emotions, bodily sensation, noise, when they become prominent at the present moment. Let your mindfulness be precise in going concurrently with the objects. Focus on only one object at a time. Our mind cannot take two or more objects one at a time. If we try to take more than one at a time, we will become agitated and unable to concentrate. So we have to take the object that is most prominent, be mindful of it, and then let it go. If you cannot decide which is most prominent, just take any one of them, be mindful of it, and let it go. What is most important in this meditation is to be mindful of the object arising at the present moment. That object may be the home object or other objects. As long as you are mindful of it at the present moment, you are doing the right thing. You are practicing meditation. Mindfulness of other object is as meditation as mindfulness of the home object. Objects may be different at different moments, but there always should be mindfulness of this object or mindfulness of that object. And do not have expectation. Expectations are good when they motivate us to practice, but when we are engaged in the practice, they become obstacle to concentration and obstacle to our practice. There will be many distractions during practice, but regard them as friends, not as enemies or intruders. Although they are not welcome, do not be irritated by them. Just accept them, be mindful of them, and let them go by themselves. Do not be tight in your mind. Do not have worries or anxieties about not getting results or not getting concentration. Keep your mind free from these worries and anxieties. Just watch or be mindful of the object at the present moment. Yogis should be relaxed in both body and in mind. In order to practice walking meditation, we have to change from the sitting postures to the standing postures. Every time you make a change of postures, you begin with noting your intention or desire to make the change, and go on to noting every movement closely, such as rising from the sitting postures, raising the arms, moving and stretching it. Yogi should make the change at the same time as noting the movements involved. As your body sways forward, note it. As you rise, the body becomes light and rises. Concentrating your mind on this, you should gently notice rising, rising. Yogi should behave as if he were a weak invalid. People in normal health rise easily and quickly, not so with fever invalids who do so slowly and gently. The same is the case with people suffering from backache who rise gently to prevent heart and cause pain. So also with meditating yogis. Yogis have to make their changes of postures gradually and gently. Only then will mindfulness, concentration and insight be good. So, begin with gentle and gradual movements. When rising, yogi must do so gently like an invalid, at the same time noting as rising, rising. Not only this, those the eye sees, yogi must act as if he does not see. Similarly, the ear hears, yogi must act as if he does not hear. While meditating, the yogi concern is only to note what you see, what you hear are not your concern. So whatever strange or striking things you may see or hear, you must behave as if you do not see or you do not hear them, merely noting carefully. When making bodily movements, yogi should do so gradually, as if he were a weak invalid, gently moving the arms and legs, bending or stretching them, bending down the head, bringing up. All these movements should be made gently. When rising from the sitting postures, yogi should do so gradually, noting as rising, rising. When straightening up and standing, note as standing, standing. When looking here and there, note as looking, looking, seeing, seeing. When you walk, you have to note all the steps. Yogi must be aware of all the successive movement involved, from the raising of the foot to the dropping of it. Yogi have to note each step taken. This is a manner of noting when you walk fast. It will be enough if you note thus when walking fast and walking some distance. When walking slowly, 3 movements should be noted in each step: when the foot is raised, when it is pushed forward, and when it is dropped. Begin with noting the raising and dropping movement. Yogi must be properly aware of the raising of the foot. Similarly, when the foot is dropped, you should be properly aware of the heavy falling of the foot. Yogi must walk noting as raising, dropping with each step. This noting will become easier after a moment. Then go on to noting the 3 movements: raising, pushing forward, dropping. Raising, pushing forward, dropping. In the beginning, it is sufficient to note 1 or 2 movements only. So, left, right, when walking fast. And when walking slowly, raising, dropping. If when walking thus you want to sit down, note as wanting to sit down. When actually sitting down, note concentratedly the heavy falling of your body. Whether you are practicing sitting meditation or walking meditation, you are just watching, you are not making anything up. If you are mindful only of the object of the present moment, you are not imagining. Do not look for objects or do not imagine them. Watch or be mindful of the object at the present moment. Pay attention just to what is there. Walking meditation should be practiced when you are entering the meditation hall and when leaving the hall. You also have to pay attention to the related activities such as opening the door, closing the door, or taking off shoes and putting them back on. These activities must be done with mindfulness. Since you have to keep mindfulness always, you are also to be mindful when eating. It is very likely that you may lose mindfulness while eating. So, pay close attention to the small activities involved. There is more involved than just one act of eating food with a spoon. There is looking at the food, getting hold of the plates, spoons and forks, putting the food on the plate, placing the food on the spoon, bringing the food to the mouth, opening the mouth, the food touching your mouth, putting the food into the mouth, chewing the food, swallowing the food, and experiencing the taste. So there are many activities involved. Yogi have to be very patient In the beginning, you will miss being mindful of many of them, but do not feel guilty. Try to be mindful of as many of these activities as you can, and with practice, you will be able to be mindful of more and more of them. The purpose of eating with mindfulness is to keep your mindfulness intact and to avoid being distracted by other objects. So too, when you drink something, drink it with mindfulness. And if you have to do dishes, do them with mindfulness. According to late Most Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw, the time a yogi rests is the time when he is asleep. During waking hours, you are expected to be practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness of the practice of meditation does not mean when we are only in the meditation hall. Wherever we are during retreat, we have to be practicing mindfulness. But room activities must be conducted with mindfulness. You go to bed with mindfulness and wake up with mindfulness, and practice begins with the first waking moment in the morning. When you go to bed with mindfulness or making notes of the activities involved, such as lowering yourself down, lying down, feeling parts of your body touching the bed, placing your head on the pillow, and covering yourself with a blanket. When you have done all these things mindfully and are finally settled in bed, resume watching the rising and falling of the abdomen. Let sleep come to you while you are practicing mindfulness. Do not worry that you will be unable to sleep if you making mental notes while going to bed. When you are tired and your body really needs to sleep, then you will go to sleep. But you go to sleep with mindfulness. The next morning, when you wake up, try to be mindful of the first moment of waking up, and then be mindful of getting up from the bed, going to the bathroom, and so on. During a retreat, always keep mindfulness with you, as the mindfulness will gain momentum. You develop mindfulness this way in order to gain concentration, and once you have concentration, you begin to see objects clearly. You begin to see the nature of the objects and also their arising and disappearing, coming and going. So always there should be mindfulness. In order to avoid being unmindful, do nothing that would distract or disturb you or the other yogis. Talking is a distraction, so it is important to keep noble silence, not talking unless it is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, just remain silent. It is for your own sake as well as for the other yogis. If you practice in this way, mindful of the object of the present moment, and master of whatever arises in your mind, concentration will become strong, and in time you will be able to penetrate the true nature of things. Then, yogi realized real peace,